We just witnessed some devastating cross-examination of a key witness in the Donald Trump criminal trial. The cross-examination of Stormy Daniels backfired in Donald Trump's face to a degree that I don't think even anyone on the MeidasTouch network was able to predict. Stormy Daniels held up very well under cross-examination by Donald Trump's lawyer, Susan Necheles. By all accounts and by her reputation, Trump's lawyer, Susan Necheles, I had heard was a good lawyer, but this cross-examination of Stormy Daniels was apparently awful. The jury was turned off. Again, we don't know what the jury's ultimately going to do, but these tactics of trying to attack Stormy Daniels, act like the underlying incident never took place, to attack Stormy Daniels' profession, to try to cross-examine over her of these minute details, which just simply make no sense at all. Well, let me tell you what went down. Hat tip to Adam Klasfeld and others in the courtroom. You can judge for yourself about what specifically went down. So here's how it started this morning. You'll recall that Stormy Daniels had previously testified on direct examination. At the conclusion of day 13, cross-examination began. So today started with more cross-examination. Let me make this one point as well, that Donald Trump and his legal team are now demanding yet again another mistrial. It doesn't usually mean your case is going good when you're constantly running to the judge, whining and begging for mistrials. Let's take a look at what went down. Trump's lawyer is Susan Necheles. So when you see references to Necheles, that's Trump's lawyer. Here's what went down. Trump lawyer Susan Necheles asked this question to Stormy Daniels on cross-examination. So even though you had agreed that you would not discuss this supposed story between you and Donald Trump, you received a lot of money for that agreement, didn't you? You then decided that you wanted to publicly say that you had sex with Donald Trump. Stormy Daniels' response: no, nobody would ever want to publicly say that. I wanted to publicly defend myself after Michael Cohen told that story. Question from Trump's lawyer: you wanted to make more money, didn't you? Stormy Daniels: no, that's why I did 60 Minutes for free. Question of Stormy Daniels: whether she hoped that she would be, quote, instrumental in putting Donald Trump in jail. Stormy Daniels sharply replied, show me where I've ever said instrumental in putting Donald Trump in jail. Susan Necheles then says, I'd like to show Miss Daniels this exhibit. It's a post from late March, and then they show the exhibit. And it's someone named @PinkElephantRoom saying this to Stormy Daniels. Michael Cohen and @Stormy Daniels, aka the human toilet, are their star witnesses. And Stormy Daniels responded on that tweet, exactly, making me the best person to flush the orange turd down. So Susan Necheles then shows Stormy Daniels this post from late March, and Stormy Daniels notes, yeah, I'm replying to somebody calling me a human toilet bowl. So I capitalized on that joke. This then leads to Trump's lawyer, Susan Necheles, to ask for clarification on who is the orange turd you are referring to in that post. And Stormy Daniels acknowledges that she's referring to Donald Trump. Trump is the orange turd. She pushes back at the implication that that's about her being instrumental in putting him in jail. I'm responding to a post, Stormy Daniels said. Stormy Daniels coolly, factually, and with a hint of indignation says, I respond to hundreds of tweets like this, calling me names like this. Susan Necheles, Trump's lawyer, then turns to a series of questions regarding Stormy Daniels' merchandising things. And Daniels is presented with this exhibit where she says, thank you to everyone for your support and love. I have so many messages coming in that I can't respond. Also, don't want to spill my champagne. Hashtag Team Stormy merch autograph orders are pouring in too. Thank you for that as well, but allow me a few extra days for shipment. Question from Trump's lawyer. So is that you, Miss Daniels, shilling your merchandise right there? Answer. That was me doing my job. Question. Selling your merchandise? Answer. Part of my job, yes. Asked about merchandising from the former president's criminal proceedings, Stormy Daniels said, "What I'm doing is not unlike what Mr. Trump is doing. He's selling merchandise also," to which there was muted laughter in the courtroom. She was then showed other things that she was selling, and then Stormy Daniels say, "Look, I continue to do my job, and I have to foot extraordinary legal bills. I have to do what I have to do." Then there was questioning about Stormy Daniels' statements about paranormal activity. Then there were questions that were wholly inappropriate, asking Stormy Daniels about attacking her former partner. This was a violation of a motion in limine, a pretrial order that said you cannot question Stormy Daniels on the stuff. The prosecution did their job and objected. The judge immediately sustained it. Then there was this question of Stormy Daniels. "Miss Daniels, you have a lot of experience, don't you, making up phony stories about sex to trying to make it appear real? Isn't that what you do?" And then Stormy Daniels starts to laugh and she goes, "I wouldn't put it that way. The sex in these videos is very real, but the relationships between the characters are not." Exactly what happened with me and Mr. Trump in that room. And if the story was untrue, Miss Necklace, I would have written that story a lot better regarding to Donald Trump. As Adam Klasfeld, who was in the courtroom, observed, Stormy Daniels is a lot more confident. She's wry. She's in control during the cross-examination, much more so than when her testimony first began earlier in the week. Utterly gone is any trace or evidence of her being nervous or speaking too fast. She lays back diagonally in her chair, looking relaxed and comfortable as she volleys the question and she answers. She's asked whether her story about Trump has changed over the years, and she says no. And this is where it gets very nitpicky. And there are questions like this that are asked. And hat tip to Katie Fang here for writing this stuff down. Question: you testified yesterday that when you were asked to dinner via Keith Schiller, you said no effing way. But in your interview with In Touch magazine, you said that Donald Trump asked you for dinner. Stormy Daniels: yeah, correct. Like I said, his bodyguard, his handler, they're a unit. This is an entertaining version of events from a magazine called In Touch. Susan Necklace: so now you're saying you lied to the magazine? When you went to the hotel room, you thought you were going out to dinner, and even though you spent 3 hours there, you didn't even eat food? Stormy Daniels is like, yeah, we never ate. Trump's lawyer: you wrote in your book, plus I was freaking hungry, and you made a point of that in interviews. Stormy Daniels like, what are you talking about? It was dinner time. I was hungry. We talked about ordering food and going down, and it just never happened. I went to dinner and I didn't get dinner. Isn't it correct, Miss Daniels, that you went on Anderson Cooper and you said you went out to dinner that night? Isn't that what you said? And so there are questions like that. And Stormy Daniels is like, what in the world are you even talking about? Then the questions were like this: Miss Daniels, you acted in more than 200 sex films, didn't you? And she goes, copulation. You directed 150 films. Stormy Daniels, give or take, you have a lot of experience making up phony stories about sex, don't you? Stormy Daniels, wow, that's not how I would put it. Question: you memorize these fictional stories and you keep repeating them. Stormy Daniels, the scripts, not the actual act itself. Pretty sure we all know how to do that. Question: and now there is a story you are telling about Trump like the films you direct. The story was untrue, Miss Necklace. If the story was untrue, I would have written it so much better. I didn't make millions of dollars and I didn't write the story. You made money on your tour, didn't you? Working at strip clubs, the documentary. Excuse me, I work in strip clubs, not sex clubs. There's a big difference right there. Where I'm from, having dinner with someone doesn't mean you have to put food in your mouth. Once again, I don't know what you are even talking about here. One of the things that's worth noting as well is that then on redirect, the prosecution the prosecution showed Stormy Daniels that even the In Touch magazine had a section of it which basically said In Touch magazine lightly edited it in order to make the story read more interesting to the reader. And then one of the things that they try to attack Stormy Daniels with is, so Ms. Daniels, are you saying that Trump's actions made you feel uncomfortable and that he forced you? She goes, look, my own insecurities made me feel that way. It's powerful stuff. And Donald Trump's lawyer trying to attack her like that made no sense. They started talking about calling him an orange turd. She mentioned, because one of the things they talked about with toasting the champagne about his indictment, Stormy Daniels responded, which one of the many indictments? And apparently, again, from all of the people I have in the courtroom, what they were telling me is that the jury seemed very turned off by the type of questionings, by the attack. And the issue here, right, is that Trump's lawyers are trying to act like this incident never happened to begin with. They were trying to say Stormy Daniels made all of this up despite all of the corroborating information. She held her own. She did a fantastic job. And that may be one of the worst cross-examinations I have ever seen or I have ever heard of or ever been told of, like, period. That's where we are right now. We'll keep you posted, but that backfired big time in Trump's face. And now they're out there again. Mistrial, mistrial, mistrial. That was your cross-exam. What are you talking about? Hit subscribe. We're on our way to 3 million subscribers thanks to your support. We appreciate you as always.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Meidas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.